Hello, Assuredness fans. Welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Prue, joined by Chiz and Dex this week. Lou is a little under the weather and traveling. So we got three of the four of us anyway. We're going to talk a little bit about college national championship game, who one of our Assuredness members happened to go to.
The Shooters was live at the national championship.
We'll talk about last week's NFL playoff games. Yep. We're going to talk about some of the NFL coaching hires that have already happened and may happen here in the next few weeks after the season wraps up. What else are we going to talk about, guys?
We're going to start off with our last segment on guillotine because we finally have been knocked out for good. There's no coming back, no more regeneration, no more troll rings, nothing. We're done.
The final death.
We're dead. Final dead, all leagues. And
final chop.
Yeah. So we're in Valhalla.
Right.
We're in Valhalla.
What happened to us, Dex?
Let's get into that first. Dex, give us a summary of where we ended up.
So we had our official Shrewdness team. We made it through week one, kind of barely, but made it through week one.
I kind of thought we would be good after we made it through week one.
I did
was like,
too.
We're gonna be set now.
I did too, so except all the Lions and Chiefs that we picked up were not good. So Pacheco came back. Yay! 1.8. 18 yards. All right. Woo! Sounds good. David Montgomery comes back like, yes! 3.6. Like, all right. Like, he almost passed for more than he ran. So he had 20 passing yards on that trick play, and he had 28 total rush yards. So he was just... He was pushing Goff for the passing lead. So that didn't help. And then Lou's favorite, Dalton Kincaid, who he just refused to let die, who I would have I'd rather put the 0 there. And it would have been close. 2.1. So 2.1 Dalton Kincaid. And so we ended up getting kind of fleeced in that one. 102 to 84. Season over for the Shrewdness. And our other team, so Lou and I were both in a separate one with some of our normal Guillotine League members. And I ended up knocking Lou out week one, and then I went out week two. And I guess I was winning all the way until the last Lamar Jackson touchdown. So the one at the very end of the game with 90 seconds left. I didn't realize I wasn't paying that much attention. It was just such a good game. I wasn't even looking at the guillotine thing. Yeah, that cost it. And I had Mark Andrews, and he had Lamar Jackson. I had a fairly good lead going in. But the dropped pass at the end, plus the fumble for Andrews, and then just a phenomenal play by Lamar to get that game to that point. But he had a couple turnovers, so that kind of kept me in from that perspective. But it's all over, baby. The dream's dead. Playoff guillotine, and I'm going to throw this out, and I want to get you guys' take on it. It's just not the same. Okay. Playoff Gio, it doesn't have – I thought it was going to be more fun than it was. And I'm glad they did it. It was sort of kind of fun.
Give you something to do, but it's definitely not the same as
because again,
regular season grind of.
And you wouldn't want them to necessarily. It's just the no bench. The no bench on the guillotine was weird. And then on the other league, the one where it's a championship, you just draft everybody and that's it. There's no. You're stuck with whoever you draft, which is kind of fine, except upsets happen. I mean, whoever was banking on Detroit got them.
It's kind of like a game. Right. That's just kind of a drafting lottery based on who you think's going to survive in the playoffs. It's different format. I think this is the first year they've done it, so I'm sure they'll get a ton of feedback and they'll have no doubt they'll tweak it for next year.
I guess I don't know if they did something last year or not. I thought they said they tweaked it, but maybe they said they were tweaking how they did it like during the season, how they're going to do it.
I think the guillotine was brand new. They might have done championship last year, but
okay. But
anyway,
I don't know. I'm not.
It wasn't.
I'm more looking forward to the regular season. The playoff. Yeah. It was fun. We gave it a try, but it's a lot of luck, man. And I don't know.
There's a whole lot less management.
Yeah,
a lot less management, and using that bench strategically during your regular season is kind of the key to guillotine, I think.
Yeah.
Managing your bye weeks and all that. So
to your point, you always have luck, but it definitely feels like this felt more luck. The other one, you do have some skill because you're having to project and you're having to figure out like who you want on your bench and who you may want to stow away and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot more strategy in a regular season.
Making your dollars last 18 weeks instead of 3. or
But
whatever.
That's right.
in this particular league, though, I mean, the guy who's doing pretty well, it comes down to he was doing well at the beginning. Like the Saturday games, he did really well, and then he took a gamble and he picked up Gibbs on the bye week and took an intentional 0 and didn't have to worry about it. So he had Kelsey and Gibbs because he had such a big lead. He could have really not done much the next day. So he dropped a terrible backup tight end and some flex spot. But then he didn't have to waste all his money to get those guys next week. And that was a big advantage getting Kelsey and Gibbs. I mean,
that's probably the strategy. Knowing that now is like,
but you'd have to know Saturday you'd do well. But I didn't have anyone I could drop in that first week. I mean, I ended up getting squeaking past Lewis by a point or something like that. One and a half.
You just got to be
super
aggressive. You got to be super aggressive and pick up the dudes that you project are going to score well that first day, that Saturday. And if you get lucky,
have that, that's exactly right.
Then you can afford to take a 0 and whatever.
That's right.
But I also didn't know you could pick up people that Saturday. So going forward, I don't know if they'll fix that or not. Either. But he picked up the players on this because there's waivers every day. There's never any just free agents, which I thought there would be.
Right.
So every day it was free agent ran like 11 or something the next day. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about it.
We learned.
It wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. And it was so unfun. Even when I was in it, I wasn't even really paying attention. Like I said, I realized I lost when I logged in on Monday. I was like, oh, I wonder if I won. Right. And there's not even chatter in our group about it. It was just meh.
Yeah.
Meh. It's more fun as betting on the games and watching the games.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, we'll put that.
Yeah. Let's transition 2 out of this one. Transition 2 to our next topic.
Right.
Oh, I'm not prepared. Hang on.
Oh my God. Because it's not a transition 5 moment, but it's definitely a 2 or a 3.
I'm flustered.
This is probably more of a transition. There we go.
There it is.
Let's transition 2.
All right. So with that, I want to go into, there's been a couple hires. It's going to impact our guillotine for next year. So it's a tie into Gio, but it's not quite Gio right now. But the biggest, I would say, and you guys can disagree if you want, but the biggest prospect coaching wise was prospects were the Detroit Lions offensive defensive coordinators. So Ben Johnson on offense and Aaron Glenn defense. And with the loss, those guys both got plucked and signed within days. Yep. And so Ben Johnson went to Chicago, which it sounded like that was kind of a top choice. I mean, it didn't take him long to do it.
I mean, I think he was the number 1
on everybody's list
on the board, I would say.
Yeah, I would think so too. And he's proven it, I think. He kind of reminds me of a Kevin O'Connell coming out of St. Louis when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he was a top commodity. And what's funny, I don't know if you guys remember that, but Jim Harbaugh was already signed by the Vikings that year. And then something, I don't know what happened. And I've never been able to really find out the truth. And he knows, and the Vikings know, but it hasn't really come out anywhere else. Suddenly we didn't have Jim Harbaugh. Then all of a sudden we had KOC. And we were kind of like, is that better or not? I'm not really sure. But it's been a great hire. But at the end of the day, the KOC, I think Ben Johnson's more akin to him. What do you guys think? Like just on kind of pedigree and build up.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I think that's a pretty good comparison.
The thing I worry about with Ben Johnson, like if I was hiring right now and I wanted the hottest candidate, it's definitely Ben Johnson. So from that standpoint, I think the Bears got their guy. What you wonder is how much of what happened in Detroit was due to the Dan Campbell effect, right? Like Dan Campbell, is Ben Johnson going to be able to motivate like Dan Campbell? That's a huge piece of what made Detroit great this year. I know the scheme's good, the play calling was good, the defense, it's a mix of all of it, right? But there's definitely something about
the leadership
that comes because guys will run through the wall for Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
understandably why, but we'll see how much of it was like Ben Johnson and his thinking and his mind, and can he be the motivator? I mean, he's not going to be Dan Campbell, but can he be close to that to where they can, get that factor too? That's what I wonder about him.
Yeah. He needs to be a strong personality too to handle Chicago. I know it's not a New York Metro kind of coaching thing, but Chicago Bears, man, they take it seriously there. And I don't think Matt Eberflus is a good hire at all. I don't know. That was an odd choice anyway. So I think him being gone is great. So I think he's got plenty of talent to work with. Man, again, we're in the air. Caleb Williams is talented as all get out. Maybe you can get all of it out of him. Sounds good. And it certainly wasn't Caleb Williams losing all the games. And
No,
he's got that year of experience, so I think he's got something to work with.
he does.
They got to shore up.
Go ahead.
They got to shore up their offensive line, and they'll be
That's
fine.
a lot of teams.
That's their biggest
Yeah.
issue. I was actually talking to a couple of Bears season ticket holders this week, and they were talking about like they've got a lot of talent, but their lines are the problem. And in the NFL, you got to build from that line. So they really need to invest in their lines. If they invest in their lines, they could be a decent team next year. And there's always the question of a coordinator. There's some guys that are just great coordinators.
Yeah.
Some guys that's what they are. They're not head coaches,
Like McDaniel's back in New England, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Josh McDaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I like Ben Johnson's creativity and all that. I think he will add to their offense. But like you said, that's not the only aspect of being a head coach. So he'll have a learning curve too.
I feel like Chicago's not going to punt as much next year. Maybe Caleb Williams will finally be right.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what else do you got from a coach standpoint? We know that Glenn.
I think, So Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets. So he gets to deal with the circus right off the bat. But here's what's, I think, going to help him out. And that's where he played. So as a player, he was a Jet and an all-pro Jet at that. I think he knows how to handle the market. He clearly knows how to handle a defense. I mean, he was playing with you and me and Padog. We were the Lions defense for the last month.
15 of their 2 deep hurt in the playoffs.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
And all their best guys were going down too. And then Anzalone came back and was playing with a broken freaking arm in a cast. I was like, I mean, he was a beast. But the fact that he made the defense that good with those level guys, he was like getting a bunch of Madden 60s, right? Like he wasn't playing with the 90s anymore with Hutchinson and all the best guys. And then on the first series, they lost their cornerback to a broken arm. They got it was disgusting, like bent backwards on a tackle, man. His own guy snapped his arm on a tackle.
Right.
So it's like, of course they would lose one more guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, you kind of feel bad. I think the Lions,
they were snake
with half their defense, with just half of their normal starters would have been real tough. And with Hutchinson, he's a game wrecker. I mean, he's there. Chris Jones.
Super strange too that to see a team have. It's always weird to have a team have that many injuries, but like all on one side of the ball is what's insane. I mean, they lost Montgomery on offensive side of the ball, but like pretty much untouched on the offensive side of the ball for the most part. It was all the defensive players, like everyone on defense. It was.
That's because they
just strange.
They didn't really get tackled on offense.
That's true.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They just scored.
Like
absolutely.
Gibbs just ran through people. So I think that's a good hire. I don't know if he'll have to deal with the circus that is Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know.
The big wild card. Is Rodgers going to stick around for Glenn, or is he like, I'm done with this?
That's the $1 million question. I'm sure he's at his darkness retreat thinking about it right now.
Right.
But
I always wondered. So I know that Saleh and Aaron Rodgers didn't really get along, and I wonder with another defensive-minded head coach if that's going to always be like, I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you're just this defensive guy that's coming in to try to solve our problems, but I got this type thing. So that could be a power struggle a little bit.
I think another problem is that they're not going to. There's no franchise quarterback coming to the Jets this draft.
Nope.
I mean, that's just a fact. And then even if the best ones were to be available, they aren't going to the Jets. I mean, it's I just don't see it happening.
Mm-mm.
But we'll see. I mean, they need somebody. And maybe, I don't even know. I don't look at the whole list, but who the hell would they even get in the free agent market? So I feel like they have to draft somebody.
Right.
And they'll have an early-ish pick, but not a high enough pick to get any of the ones you'd actually really want.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think he's going into a bad situation. I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But also
much different than the Ben Johnson situation.
Yes, exactly.
It's also kind of though, like, there's also something to be said about like you're going into a train wreck, and like expectations can't be that high.
That's true. The bar's going to be
You know?
low.
So it's
Yeah.
Like this
when you're
year,
walking into the Jets, like people
Yeah.
are like, you can win 6 games next year. We feel pretty good about ourselves, you know, like.
If we can not embarrass ourselves this year, that'll be
Right?
a win.
that'd be great. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it does feel like the bar is low. So what do you think about these other coaching? So we still got my hometown Cowboys here.
Yeah.
They're looking for they've interviewed Robert Saleh, they've interviewed Leslie Frazier, Brian Schottenheimer, and Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. I feel like.
And Dion. Sorry, I forgot Dion.
But this just came out today too. I don't know if you saw this. Pete Carroll's talking to the Raiders, and he talked to Jerry Jones about Dallas.
Right.
Touchdown Pete would be exciting. I think Touchdown Pete could bring the energy and everything else, and he doesn't really – I don't believe he cares in the mid-70s about running the whole team because he can have the other mid-70s Jerry Jones do it, who will do it. I mean, it's not even –
That's the key is like who wants to walk into this organization in Dallas? Like my money has been from day one on Kellen Moore because I think he's a controllable entity. And Jerry wants a controllable entity, and I feel like he's my guy, and I can hold the puppet strings. And like you get a Pete Carroll and a Dion, those guys are independent thinkers. They're going to want to do things the way they want to do things. Yeah. I would love it for the drama. I love the front row seat to the drama in Dallas, so I'm rooting for a Dion hire because I think it would just be fireworks and chaos at all times.
I think Dion or Touchdown Pete would be phenomenal.
Man,
I actually think they'd both do pretty well because
they probably
I think the roster doesn't suck. I mean, they had some injuries again on defense, and then when they came back though, Dallas was starting to win games. And that was with Cooper Rush, man.
They're not bad. They're definitely mid-pack, and with the right coach, they could make
That's
the playoffs.
it. When you flip a couple of those dubs from L's, you go up pretty quick.
That's right.
But my thing with Kellen Moore
can become 10-7 pretty quick.
Yeah, Kellen Moore is boring. Totally. He makes vanilla look exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
I just can't imagine a less motivating person in the world to be your head coach.
Right?
I mean, Leslie Frazier's got more energy. Mm-hmm. He just, in his calm demeanor, he brings more to the table. Kellen Moore has never done, I don't know, maybe he's just a hoot at the old neighborhood party after he gets his 4th sparkling water in him. I'm not sure. He just doesn't look like that kind of guy you would need to motivate that team, but he does know them all.
He knows them all.
And so maybe just having the familiarity is all they need. And maybe, like I said, maybe just hilarious and just pure charisma behind closed doors. But boy, does he look like just a wet blanket to me.
To me, he's Jason Garrett 2.0. And
wet blanket.
And Jerry liked Jason Garrett because he could control Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett did what he wanted,
Yeah.
I could just see it. I think if Jerry wants to win, he will not hire Kellen Moore. But his ego is just so freaking enormous that I don't know that he's going to be able to say, bring in Dion and don't say anything. You just can't do it.
Well, I think Dion's smart enough to know that wouldn't happen anyway.
Right.
All right, and a couple of the other names you mentioned. So it looks like San Francisco's hired Saleh as the defensive coordinator. So he's off the board. Tampa Bay's offense coordinator, Cohn, C-O-E-N.
Yeah.
He apparently, according to the news, said he was going to talk to Jacksonville and then pulled out. Well, then the last recent story from just a couple hours ago. Yeah, well, now he is going to interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bad decision.
I know. I'm kind of with the radio guys, the St. Louis radio guys were saying, I would just stay in Tampa one more year, have success one more time, and see what opens up next year.
Right.
Because Jacksonville routinely rates in the bottom of support, team support, facilities, everything. I think they got dead last. I think they were 32nd out of 32nd teams.
There's nothing good about that squad, and it just feels like walking into losing. And you look at who they've interviewed.
Yeah, it's
Joe Brady, Kellen Moore,
just blanket after blanket.
Graham, Brian Flores, Like,
They don't have a good track
ah,
record
No.
of hiring great coaches. So
well,
I mean,
who's-
Peterson,
who
I think,
wants
was
that?
not that bad for the.
no,
Well, I mean, give him some help, man.
For
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Peterson felt like a slam dunk hire. to
That's
me.
where I'm at. I think he's actually probably pretty good. And I don't know. I don't really know what transpired. I didn't see it on the news. I mean, it may have come out. I just didn't see it. But anyway, that's gonna be an interesting one. He goes there.
I just want to
Tampa Bay
know.
guy should just stay at OC and wait for next year, though.
I just want to know, like, when does Jacksonville become the London Jaguars? Because they're already playing most of their games over there anyway, and it's clear that they want a team in
Yes.
the UK. So, like, pretty soon it seems inevitable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you'd get a better facility right off the bat.
Oh yeah, totally.
They probably love going to London. Like, sweet.
more support.
Right?
Exactly.
You have a bigger crowd to draw from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they can do their Sweet Caroline or whatever song they're always doing out there. They love it.
And that leaves us the Raiders.
And that's the Raiders. Yeah,
And the Saints, I guess. Well, Saints. Ugh.
Yeah,
What
there's
were we
a
talking
bunch
about
of.
the Saints before we got on air? How many coaches are they paying?
They're
So
paying
here-
like 5 coaches or something.
So here's an ugly one. I want to throw it out because I think it's the only list I saw him on, which makes me upset. So the Raiders candidates, according to this site
I've
that I'm
seen
on,
it too.
it's Ben Johnson's number 1, gone.
Yep.
Aaron Glenn number 2, gone. Number 3,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Spagnuolo. I don't even like it, and the fact is they haven't hired anybody. Makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be waiting to talk to Steve. Just hire. Salah's gone too. Hire this Todd Monken, Ravens OC, and see how the Lamar offense works. With
hire Riverboat Ron. That's another one. That's another one they've interviewed.
He's on the list. Yeah,
nice.
On there.
But Pete Carroll's on this list too. Robert Saleh, he's obviously gone. So half their list is gone already.
Right.
So
and they're the Raiders.
And they're the Raiders.
Like,
looks
we don't.
Are the Chiefs gonna? I don't know how this works in the NFL. I know in college, if you have like somebody in your conference request to interview, they're like, no,
Right.
we're not.
Can you give them
sending our
the stink
OC
eye and
to our arch rival?
That's it.
I don't know how it works in the pros, but like going to the Raiders just feels like not okay. Like,
so the Raiders did hire a new GM. So I don't know who this guy is. John Spytek. He looks like he's the Buccaneers' assistant GM.
Yep.
So they did hire him, and at least Tampa does things right.
Right.
I mean, Tampa, for whatever reason, for baseball and for football, seems to get a lot out of these rocks. They squeeze rocks and find diamonds.
They get a lot of potatoes, and they do good stuff with them.
It is. I mean, they said, you know what? Unretire Tom Brady. Let's just try it out. Super Bowl.
Right.
And then playoffs next year. And then, hey, man, let's just try. Let's just go. And everybody, they seem to try out Baker. 4th time's a charm, man. Let's do this thing.
Right.
And here's Baker, 4th team, and now he's all pro. So whatever they're doing, however their system works, they seem to be scouting well. Bucky Irving is a great pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they've had Evans and Godwin forever. Godwin might have to get replaced. That was a nasty, disgusting injury. I hope he comes back. I really like watching him play. But then Mike Evans, he's no spring chicken, man. So they're going to have to start replenishing. And they got McMillan, who I think is going to be a good wideout for them. I mean, probably someone you'll be looking at for Gio next year for sure as at least flex.
And Cade Otton.
Yeah, and Cade Otton. Oh, yeah. Don't forget about
Cade Otton.
He's the best.
Cade Otton.
But so there's still some jobs open. So we got Jacksonville, Oakland, Dallas. We got a lot. Bears, they got their person. So we'll see how the rest of these translate.
We got a lot of speculation still, but a lot of the chips will fall over these next 3 weeks or so.
Oh, no, 6 minutes ago, Jaguars expected to hire Cohn as head coach. So hot off the presses. Looks like that is going to happen.
He did not listen to the advice from the Shrewdness.
I know we haven't got this thing up yet. If we could have posted it yesterday.
Streaming, we could have averted this crisis.
The Shrewdness gives that choice 3 thumbs down.
I mean, I feel bad we didn't get this up earlier. Sick of this poor guy.
Because we had some sickness, we had some travel, we had to do this one a little later in the week, and now we've cost the Jaguars Actually,
Right?
not
Another
the Jaguar.
season.
Cost Cohen's what we've done.
Cost
That
Cohen.
poor guy.
That's probably a good opportunity.
That poor guy.
Well, there we go. So hot off the press, Liam Cohn, new head coach.
Well, that's good. It's not Spagnolia. So now we're sitting. We've only got a couple more teams that could steal Spag. You know, I've also been surprised that there hasn't been any Nagy buzz.
Yeah.
You know? Like I kind of thought he would get another cup of coffee somewhere.
For which guy?
For Nagy to come in.
Nagy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, and you know, I know the Bears experiment was horrible and failed horribly, but
many people fail there.
Well, yeah. So it's like it seems like he might get another chance somewhere, but I guess not next year. Doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need to pull Ditka out of deep retirement,
right?
And see how he does.
He can't do any worse, man.
No.
So let's talk about last week's games. So let's go in order here. We had 4 games. God, I think it's the best NFL weekend of the year.
Unbelievable.
The divisional round is always good.
Yeah.
The best.
It's always fun. We had some picks to go with these games too. Happened to have a pretty good little run for
we did deep.
If you hung with us over the rough regular season, we have had a good playoff run, I will say.
Yeah. So we'll do our picks later, but last week 4-0.
4-0.
So you can imagine how those went.
That's right. Perfect. If you parlayed it,
and
probably on
not
your
to
yacht.
toot our own horn. Do we have a horn toot on that thing, Prue? Do we got any horn toots on there?
Nope.
Okay.
We have some clapping.
All right, that'll work. All right. So if you, yes.
Thank you.
That
Thank
one
you.
keeps going. So we are 7-1 on our picks in the playoffs. So understandably, we did not give you a lot of confidence through our regular season to follow us. But if you stuck with us and you went with it, 7-1. Hopefully you didn't go the fade, the shrewdness, because you're 1-7 if you did that for the playoffs so far. So we're finally getting all our money back from the season that we were losing consistently.
Teams are finally doing what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Let's face it.
It's about time.
They're finally doing what they're supposed to do. And we're kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs. So the playoffs come,
we show up. We get the Corvette out of the garage. We take the blanket off. We get after it. Then we get playoff Kelsey.
That's right.
Kelsey shows up
in
the playoffs.
Speaking of, that was the first game. So what did you guys obviously, we have our vested interest in the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the game 23-14 against the Houston Texans, who had looked really good coming into the game this week. Okay, let me call out the first thing that I want to call out. And let's just deal with it because I'm tired of it. But we have reached Patriots level delusion when it comes to opposing fans. They have now absolutely lost the ability to rationally process data or facts, and
there's no objectivity anymore.
That the NFL is on the take, and they are mailing it in for the Chiefs. They're setting things up. They're actively coordinating for the Chiefs to win, and the outrage was extreme at the end of this game, mainly because of 2 personal foul calls roughing the passer against Patrick Mahomes. So let's just put it out there. Let's just deal with it.
Let's get it.
Okay, so where do we stand as Chiefs fans on the call? So the first one, Patrick Mahomes had someone come in late. I forget who it was.
It hit his helmet in the face in technicality of the rule at all times, all season, the last 2 years. That's the call. Doesn't matter how hard. Doesn't matter if you meant to. Doesn't matter if you tickled it. Helmet to helmet, no matter how slight, is a foul.
You contact the quarterback's head with a helmet or a hand slap or whatever.
Exactly, Prue, hand, anything like that, right? We'll hit it.
Can't do it.
And I will say, if you watched it, if you guys were watching the game, you looked at the angle the referee had. He was from behind, and if you saw that angle, I would have called it a million times. It was clear.
Yes.
It looked definitely like a foul from that perspective.
Yep.
When you saw it from the other angle, it was less of a foul, but it was technically still a foul. He hit the bottom of his face mask with the helmet.
Yep.
I think what caused a lot of the outrage was dadgum Troy Aikman. And
Troy Aikman going nuts and
jealousy,
stupid Joe Buck.
His clear jealousy of Patrick Mahomes and not wanting to be overtaken by Patrick Mahomes has made him say crazy things. And he was like, bad call. I wouldn't have called
Oh, my gosh, it's gone too far.
So I know Lou went off on this during the season. and I noticed it too, and that was one of the situations Aikman called out was when Patrick got close to the sideline, he like slowed down
Right.
before going out of bounds,
Yeah.
almost waiting for contact so he could
Baiting him.
flop.
Baiting him.
Yep.
And okay, they didn't call it, but
Right.
if you watch around the league, most quarterbacks do the same thing.
No, dude.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's got any tenure in the league does it because they
Right.
know, like, why not? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, this has happened in sports as long as there have been sports. So
Jane Radler runs for his life out there, but
Totally.
Patrick Mahomes knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows how to draw a foul.
Josh
Yeah.
Allen does the exact same thing. He slows up right when he gets to the edge. Is like, yeah, you want to hit me? You want to hit me? Go ahead, hit me.
And Chisholm,
Josh Allen weighs 260 as well,
didn't
so
you
he's
have a stat on that you put out there for actual calls for
Yeah, nobody
roughing the
wants-
passer? I just want to put out the facts because people just don't get it.
Because
Because if you just throw out for a poll, who has the most roughing the passer calls against them? Oh, it's Pat Mahomes. Obviously, that's the stupidest question
Right.
you've ever asked, Rudeness.
So this
What's
will
the
blow
real
you
answer,
away.
Chisholm?
This will blow you away. So
What's the
since
real one?
2018, okay, Josh Allen has been on the receiving end of more roughing the passer and unnecessary roughness calls than Mahomes.
That can't be right.
In each, not just one of them, in each of the last 7 seasons, including the playoffs. So the total for that span, Patrick Mahomes has had 39 calls.
But they're always at the crucial time, though, Chisholm.
Oh, it's always about the time. I know it's the
Yeah.
time. 39 calls. Josh Allen, 61. Okay?
What? That's nearly 50% more.
It's not even close. Not to mention the fact that Josh Allen is a significantly bigger human being than
Yes.
Patrick
Right.
Mahomes and
Right.
could take a lot more of those hits. It's like nobody wants to hear that. And this is where it's devolved to for the Chiefs hating crowd, is exactly
is-
what you guys were talking about. It's the timing
Patrick-
of the penalties.
Is Patrick second?
Well, as a matter of fact, he's not.
Is he
He's not
third?
second. He's
not even on the
as a matter of fact.
podium?
Like, what?
Stay your tongue, young man.
That's incredible. Where does he fall, Prue?
You gotta
I'm
keep
looking-
scrolling.
I'm looking back because it was. Let's see. He
It's
is
crazy.
7th.
Oh, wow.
Seventh.
You had to go to the second page to find him.
7th. Now, let's keep this in mind, too. He's 7th, and he has played that whole time. So there's a lot of guys that are on there that are just a couple seasons and whatever, like the fact that he's played that whole time and he's 7th. There haven't been that many quarterbacks that have been around for that long. 7th.
So they
Lamar
did.
has.
They have normalized it, so it's
Okay.
roughing per 100
Per
pass
season?
attempts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Per
averaged
100
out.
pass attempts. So
And
like
7th.
Cousins is on the list, and Cousins missed whatever he missed
Yeah,
last year.
Right.
But it's all per drop back per pass
He's
attempt,
7th. Okay, I promise you this. Let me put this.
and
in
it's not 58 to 61. It's 39 to 61.
Right.
It's significantly different.
It's a massive gap. And let me put this in perspective for you guys, for all the sport fans out there. If you think that Michael Jordan would have gotten 50% less calls than Charles Barkley at their peak, you're freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan got every call. And honestly, there's some of that should happen. The stars of the league should get the calls. And Mahomes isn't getting the same amount of calls as a typical star does. If you don't think that stars are getting the calls in every league, you don't watch sports.
Yeah,
Now,
just
I'm not
look.
saying that they should get all the calls, but what we're showing you objectively is that Mahomes is not getting a disproportionate amount of the calls. It's insanity that this
Yep.
is the narrative. Now, the second call that happened, I will give to the people watching it on replay. I thought was not a good call. I was
Yep.
like, you know what? I don't feel like it was a good call. Now, when I watched it real time, I was like helmet to helmet. They went helmet down and they stuck their helmets down. It looked worse because the two defenders hit helmets, and so there was an impact.
Yeah, they
It looked like
tattooed themselves, but on
right.
replay you could tell that.
in
but
slow motion. On
And
replay.
here's what also I didn't like. Did you see the position Mahomes was at when they both speared themselves?
Yes,
He was basically on his back already.
totally.
So you're hitting a dude that's already down and trying to spear him.
Right.
Now, F off, man.
Right.
You don't get to just all you had to do is use your pinky finger, man.
That's right.
He's
Right.
down with a pinky finger. So the fact you're trying to have two dudes from two different directions spear his ass into the ground. And go F yourselves.
And let's not forget that this was the same team, the Texans, who had multiple dirty hits in this season. So there's some reputation that has to be taken into account here too. Remember the Texans? Who was the guy?
Alazar knocked out Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
And he got to come back for the playoffs, I guess. That's good.
Headhunting Trevor Lawrence. So it's not like these guys didn't earn this. But listen, throw all that crap aside. Yeah. Throw all that crap aside for a second. And just think about this. You scored 14 points, Texans.
Yep. You're not winning the playoffs with 14.
They scored 12.
12 points.
Yeah.
That's true. They scored 12, and then they got a gift.
Oh my God! And I'm glad we got it at 8.5 and not 9.5. Because speaking of that,
not happy at the end of that game.
I had to do some quick math in my head. I was like, no, am I getting screwed? Wait. Oh wait, I'm good.
I did not have that on my bingo card for sure.
Oh my God!
I didn't either.
Made my heart skip a beat.
that was a very interesting.
Yeah, I was fine with just punting it when you're up 2 scores, but hey,
right?
What do I know?
Right?
You're up 11
with 12 seconds left or whatever.
Yeah, that's called a punt.
We'll
just
kick the ball away
right there.
We'll say Twitter was a buzz. Betting Twitter was a buzz at the end of that game. We'll just say because there's a lot of people that said there was some people who were being paid, and because there was a big number at 9 and a big number at 9.5 in Vegas, so that was a significant shift for some people.
But it was 8.5 all week, so most people had 8.5. We got 8.5.
That was really interesting. But, listen, hey, I'll be the first to admit, Chiefs didn't look great. I will say Travis Kelce looked great.
Looks like a beast.
Playoff Travis is a real thing.
He is.
Passing Jerry Rice for most playoff touchdowns in that game. That's insane to think about.
Tight end.
For a tight end.
What?
And you think about how great Jerry Rice was.
Well, imagine how many seasons Gronk played, and he was in the playoffs every single year, winning so many Super Bowls.
That's right.
And he ain't second. He ain't first. Yep. It's Travis Kelce, number 87, bringing it home. And again, God, he's just a beast when it comes playoff time. It's just fun to watch.
He was a beast. The defense played really well. Shocking to me that the Chiefs had 0 completed passes to their
DeAndre Hopkins receivers. And Hollywood Brown. I'm like, what?
Zeros.
I really thought they were going to have some action. I'm not going to lie. I figured they double teamed Travis the entire game, and you must throw to someone else.
Yeah.
And then he just found holes in the zone. He beat his coverage, and then.
Well, God, there were a couple times they didn't even cover him.
I know.
How do you not cover Travis Kelce in the playoffs?
Yeah, some of that's by design, right? I mean, Andy Reid scheme with the week off. We've talked about it before.
Yeah,
right.
He's going to find a way to get his best tight end, or best tight end open.
It looked like he had some time.
Yeah,
for sure. And Travis made him pay in a big way. And then the Texans made a lot of miscues that no one will talk about. But you missed a field goal, or a missed extra point. You had a field goal block. You gave up a 65-yard kickoff return to start the game. Like they did not.
And then threw your helmet across the field.
Oh yeah,
Chiefs did that really too.
Smart, all kinds of crazy, stupid, self-inflicted wounds.
Chiefs get all the calls though.
Right, and if you're an objective fan, I know we're not objective, but any objective fan will tell you, at
least we know
Chiefs are the better team in that game. Now, we'll see come the next week. We'll talk about that in a bit. So the second game was Commanders-Lions. Holy cow.
Wow.
What a game.
I cannot believe that. You have to feel a little bit of sadness for Detroit. Because, oh my God, was that a good team and a tremendous offense. And even the defense was playing well despite playing with us on defense.
Right.
And just to have everything just disintegrate on your first bye week, and you get the number 1 seed, and you're home, and the whole state's behind you, and it's loud. And then you got a young upstart, Jaden Daniels, comes in here and says, I'm just going to do this with a smile on my face. This ain't even that big a deal.
the way that Detroit went out last year too, like
Oh, yeah, that was
a
brutal.
dropped
The
fourth down
penalty.
pass, like from converting, I think, and I
What was
mean,
that? The 2-point that got called back because he didn't report. Wasn't that what that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
mean,
was
just
brutal.
they're way too talented to go out like that.
They,
But
But
this
they,
game,
they,
45-31. I mean, they kind of got handed.
yeah,
you give up 45 points at home to
Yeah.
a rookie
to a
quarterback.
rookie quarterback.
Yep. Scary
mean-
Terry he had to play. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, I remember watching Randy Moss and the Vikings against the Saints, and it looked just like it. It's just a screenplay to the left, and he just ran through and beat everybody.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ran through the
I've
gap.
seen this play before. Holy
Right?
crap. There it is. Scary Terry.
Well, you look at Daniels, okay, rookie against the number 1 seed on the road.
Yeah.
22 of 31, 299 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 51 yards rushing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to call something out here. I like Jared Goff.
Yep.
It's a fun story. But we got to ask the question at this point.
Is he Sam Darnold?
So, right. Is he the pumpkin? So he's 23 for 40. He did throw for 313, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And the interceptions were not good either.
Bad
It's not like,
interceptions.
oh, that ball was tipped and it got a tip drill and the guy kicked it off. It was bad interceptions.
Oh, I think we got a call in. Who is that? Oh, Justin Herbert wants to join us. Just 1 second. Hey, guys. So it's Justin
How's
Herbert
it going,
here.
Justin?
It's going great, man. So I hear you guys are talking about playoff quarterbacks and kind of having a bad day. So
Yeah.
So I got Sam here too, man. So we're hanging out here, and we just want to tell you that it ain't that bad a deal. Jared Goff played a great game, 300 yards. What do you want? The defense got to play. Did
That's
Jared
true.
Goff give up 45 points?
It's a
He
good
did
point.
not. Jared
That's a
Goff
good
scored
point.
31. That should be good enough to win, isn't it, Chisholm?
That's right. I agree, Justin. I think that you can't put. No, I don't agree. You're a playoff quarterback.
Manage
Come
the game,
on.
sir.
I mean,
Manage the game.
Hell, you can even win with 4 interceptions if you play your hand right. I mean, I can't do everything.
I mean,
And I don't even think Justin Herbert's got a southern voice, but he does for this one. So
yeah, right. I was like, it's interesting voice for a guy who played
For a
on the
dude
West
from
Coast,
the left
right?
coast. I'm from
Where's-
Oregon. I'm from Southern Oregon.
So
Where's
there
the
we go.
slow clap emoji on here?
right? Is there a slow clap?
So yeah, speaking of pumpkins in the playoffs, Herbert, Darnold, and now has Jared Goff walked into that infamous
he crossed over into, because I mean, if you look right, he did play in a Super Bowl, right?
He
With the Rams, although one
Yep.
could argue that they didn't really play that game. What did they put up? How many points?
nothing,
It was, like,
hardly anything. It was not good.
disgusting game.
Yeah.
He's now career 4-5 in the playoffs, which isn't horrible. But if you look at his
0
in
for
a
1
big
this year
game,
with the 1 seed. Woof.
right, his rating goes significantly down when he hits the playoffs. So there are some guys that just aren't playoff guys. I'm not saying Goff's that yet, but he's starting to have the buzz about him.
Yeah. Well, but we have to say it. I'm just going to say it anyway. What's Lamar's record in the playoffs?
Oof.
He's never put 2 wins together. I'll say
Yep.
that.
You're correct. And
Lamar is in a similar category in my boat. And we
Yeah.
talked about last week. We talked about playoff coaches
Yep.
and whether or not Mike Tomlin belongs in that category
right,
for always seeming to make the playoffs but never getting through the playoffs.
right.
Yep. And that's the thing. If Joe Burrow had a coach, I think Joe Burrow is a playoff quarterback.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
he gets in, and I'm nervous.
Dude's a clutch dude, right? He's one of those guys that you don't want to face. He's definitely got the
he will-
Mahomes gene.
He does. And Jaden Daniels seems to have that gene.
Jade Daniels, his heart rate was like 42 in that game. I was like, he's
That was
sitting on the
after a run.
sideline just like I'm like, do you realize that you are, what is he, 21 years old in the
yeah.
number 1 seed
I-
house?
There's
Right now?
something to be said for a rookie quarterback. They're naive. They don't know what
They
to
just
feel.
don't know. They're like,
Right.
oh, I may be here every year. They don't
Yeah,
realize
this is
this
no
such
big deal.
such a fleeting opportunity. You don't realize how
Yep.
It's kind of a little bit like we're dealing with the Chiefs fans right now. I keep having to remind myself how rare it is to win in the playoffs and try to
it's hard.
appreciate every win that we get.
I do
Yeah.
too. Same.
Because you remember
Appreciation.
We went like 20 years with no playoff wins.
Yeah.
Like 20 years.
The
And, like,
desert was
18 of those
long.
with no playoff appearances, right? Just
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what he's
then we'd
doing
make
is
it. We
special.
wouldn't have a defense.
Right.
yeah.
What he's doing is pretty special, and we'll talk more as we get to the picks. But like, if he could continue it, so third game was Rams Eagles. What did you guys take on Rams Eagles? 28-22. The Eagles won.
So I would have
Yeah.
guessed a lot wider spread in the weather conditions. I
Yeah.
thought the Eagles were much better suited to be an outdoor snow
Totally.
football team. Rams kept it close and really had a shot to win toward the very end.
Outgained them. Outgained
Yep.
the Eagles.
Yep.
This is what jumped out to me, Dex. I'd love your thoughts on this. Eagles passing yards 65.
I didn't realize it was that much. All I know is A.J. Brown had another solid, what did he have? 2 for 14. Two
Oh.
catches for 14. I think he only had 2 targets. I might be wrong on that, but I know it wasn't very many. And it was just unbelievable. The second half, I kind of got it right. It was really windy and snowing all over the place, but every other team seemed to throw it. I mean, the Rams had no problem throwing it. Stafford went all the way down the field and slammed one right in.
Right.
Puka
Yeah.
had 97. I think he was 6 for 97 in that game.
Right.
And I don't understand. I don't know if it's Sirianni or if it's just the play calling or if somebody did something weird and I just don't know about it. But are you not throwing to A.J. Brown, one of the most dominant
you've got
receivers?
A.J. Brown, you've got Devontae Smith, who's
At
not
least
a
Devontae
bad
Smith got a
receiver.
few, but
You
Devontae
got
had a few.
Dallas Goedert, like, these aren't like pumpkins that you've got
Yeah.
to throw to.
And the flip side that they can probably say is like, dude, Saquon 202.
That's the fair point.
Like,
Yeah.
we did
And
what we needed to do. We ran the clock out and won.
In the snow, I get that. That's
I mean, and Saquon is stupid right now. Like, he's a cheat code for
I
sure.
think Saquon prevented us from putting Hurts right in that category we were just talking about.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I think, but for Saquon, you're talking about Hurts losing second round, which maybe first. I mean,
Right.
it's been the Saquon show for this entire playoffs, this entire season. What am I saying? This entire
Yeah.
season for Philly has been all Saquon. I mean, he would have broken the record if they would have let him play, and he wanted to play.
For sure.
And so you have that talent coming in.
I'm
And-
still convinced that there's something going on between Hurts and AJ Brown. You saw it when
Right?
Hurts
There
went out.
has to be.
When Hurts went out with this concussion, the next 2 plays went to AJ Brown
For
for a
A.J.
touchdown.
Brown.
Immediately, Kenny Pickett comes in and finds him twice
Yeah.
for a touchdown.
Those are
It's super weird, right?
And
It doesn't-
I had him on my team, and I'm like, all right, if you're at first and goal from the 5-yard line, your number 1 read has to be
Oh
a
my
quick
gosh,
slant
yeah.
from your slot,
Yeah.
right?
To the
And
massive
AJ Brown
dude with awesome
wide
hands.
open, hit the
Right?
quick slant, easy touchdown. Nope, it goes to Devontae Smith in the back of the end zone, some
Fade
weird
route.
fade route. Like, what are you doing? Hit your
Yeah.
best receiver with a 95% sure thing.
I mean, there's definitely something up, right? That locker room has been toxic for 2+
Yeah.
seasons now.
So weird.
And I mean,
For
they're
a
just
winning team to have such toxicity in the locker room is
Yeah.
so weird.
they have so much talent.
That's like
Yeah,
the
that's the
opposite of
thing.
the Dan Campbell effect.
Right?
Yeah. So I thought the Rams, they should have won the game, and I think they probably were going to win the
Stafford
game.
threw for 320 yards.
But
Kyron
they-
Williams ran for 106.
But the things that killed
Jeez.
them were the turnovers. So Kyron Williams fumbling on that rush
Yep.
killed. I mean,
That was a brutal
that
turnover.
hurt.
Yeah.
And then
That was
when-
at a critical point too.
It
that
was.
turnover.
And then the Stafford fumble, and that was
Yeah.
kind of like, I think it was back-to-back drives, I'm not mistaken.
I
It
think
might have
you're
been a
right.
punt in the middle, but I think it was back-to-back. And it was when they had just gotten that safety. And I kind of called that. I think I even texted you guys. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that could be a game-changing play
Oh,
right there.
right.
Because they got knocked back to the 1. And then the Rams got the safety. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
here we go. And,
Right?
boy, that ended up – I kind of gave the game away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So back-to-back turnovers in the fourth quarter when you need them the least, and not time to overcome.
It does make you wonder about the vaunted Eagles defense, which has been really good over the past few years. But like, you gave up 402 yards to a dome team from the West Coast in the snow.
In the snow.
Yeah. How does that happen? Like it makes you wonder if there's some issues on that defensive side of the ball too, which we haven't really had to worry about with the Eagles for a while.
Well, on that though, Sean McVay, we've already said one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah, true.
Matt Stafford, Super Bowl winner, one of the best pocket passers in NFL history.
Yeah.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, one of the top wideouts in the NFL.
He almost had 100 yards receiving.
Yep. Cooper Kupp, arguably a Hall of Famer. If not, he's certainly going to be in the discussions. Yep. I mean, that's your team right now. So I don't find it weird that Philly struggled against them.
True.
That's good. And Kyren Williams doesn't suck. He's pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's an NFL starter, right?
They're not too bad, and their line's not horrible either. So I think I was more impressed with St. Louis's defense. Like, even giving up 200 yards, you had a chance to go win the game on the last drive.
It's even more impressive is that they brought the defense from St. Louis when they're based in LA.
Yep.
So that was a really incredible move that they made. They stopped St. Louis. They picked them up, the defense, and then took them to Philly.
True story. True story. So I watched the game in St. Louis. Be quiet.
You can't get insight like this from just any podcast.
That's exactly it.
Goodness, listeners.
All right, let's go to the next game. So that was a fun game.
Which was the big one. The Big Daddy. Everyone wanted to watch this game. You got Bills-Ravens. Epic, the MVP candidates that everyone's talking about. It's going to be one of these two guys. It's at Buffalo. You got talent galore. I was super excited about this game, right?
Yep.
And it did disappoint. It came down to the very, very last play, and we had a 2-point game, 27-25. Bills prevailed. Prue, what are your thoughts on this one?
Super unfortunate that Andrews did not catch the 2-point conversion. It was not, so in his defense, it wasn't the greatest throw, a little bit low.
No,
but
it was
as many touchdowns as he's caught the last 10 weeks. You got to come down with that.
It was between the 8 and the 9, and all you got to do is catch it and fall in.
You could tell what he was doing, right? You could tell he was worried about making it to the end zone. So he was like starting to kind of look
backpedal
back in before he caught the ball. It was like, it was totally on him, right? But I will say this, and this is the case with Lamar. I love Lamar. I think he's a fun guy to watch.
He's good.
I would love having him on my team. But if you watch that play and you break it down, Lamar hikes the ball. He has him immediately. He pauses.
Yeah.
And this is the thing with Lamar. He does this occasionally. He hitches a little, and then he throws. And
he rolled out right and then did it.
Just that little hitch that he had, throws the timing off just enough that if you're Andrews, you're like, oh, crap, I'm getting close to the sideline, and I got to make sure that I'm in the right spot. And it's slightly behind me. Not enough that I still should have caught it, but it's slightly behind me. And it's like, if you just would have, boom, hit that, like Mahomes gets the ball, boom, boom. It's like catch, throw.
Right? Without laces, right? Without laces, sometimes just hike,
you don't
throw.
need the laces for that throw, right?
Yeah.
So just hit it, and it's this thing like that it's just a little different. I'm not a Lamar hater. There's so many people that are like, oh, Lamar he chokes, whatever. Lamar did not play a choke-worthy game in that game. He played a great game.
Yeah, I mean, he had one pick that was bad, and he had the fumble trying to make something happen. And
the fumble was bad. He shouldn't have fumbled that ball. That was a careless.
And again, I think Baltimore is a better team all the way through this one. To be honest, I know Buffalo won, but I think Baltimore had a better team effort. And again, it came down to dropping a 2-point. And in overtime, who knows? All I know is whoever got the coin flip was probably going to win it because both those quarterbacks were going to run down the field by themselves if they had to. It would have come down to the coin toss. The coin toss would have won it.
Well, think about this. This stat popped to me. Yards per play in this game, Ravens 7.3.
That's a
Bills
ton.
had 4.6. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
7.3 yards of play. They had 416 yards of offense in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And again, the not great weather, right? I mean,
and that's turned the ball over 3 times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they controlled the ball and just like, God, every time they got the ball, they did something. They were 7 for 10 on third down. Bills were 5 of 11.
Derrick Henry, I saw the stat. I guess I didn't realize it watching the game live. He had 5 yards in the fourth quarter. Derrick Henry, 5 yards.
That's his prime time.
In the snow, right? You
I
think
don't
that'd
care.
be like
Yeah.
domination time.
Like, I don't care if Justice Hill is a better pass catcher. I'm putting the big beast in there because he can catch just fine. Yeah. But at least you have the threat. And he could house it, and he does regularly. I was super surprised that.
Is there a little bit of knock on Harbaugh here? Because at the end of the day, this happens a lot with him in the playoffs, where you kind of have to question some of the game plan. Last year, when the Chiefs went to Baltimore for the AFC Championship game, he didn't run the ball at all against the Chiefs. The big knock was it was just the first 2 drives were just Lamar throw. They didn't have Henry at the time, but they're still a running team. And it's like he seems to get away from his identity whenever he gets in these big games.
Like they try to morph into something they're not to surprise everyone or whatever. But NFL really defenses are smart. Yeah. Do what you're good at.
That's exactly right.
There's very few things that I know that are going to work, and one of them is Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. It's like Saquon fourth quarter
out of you for 3 quarters, and it's like he's not that effective in the first quarter. Henry usually he's like, I'm just beating on you right now, and then I'm going to come busting at you in the fourth quarter, and 5 yards. That's crazy.
And one missed tackle, he can get 30 yards easily, if not more.
So, as somebody who's always looking for the silver lining for the Chiefs, I go, okay. The Ravens got 7.3 yards a carry or a play. At Buffalo. They turned the ball over 3 times to 0 for Buffalo, and they lost by 2 points because of a Mark Andrews drop.
Yep.
Doesn't scream confidence for Bills fans, but I will say Josh seems to bring it against the Chiefs.
He does.
He did not bring it this game. If you look at Josh Allen's stats this game, he threw for 127 yards. Holy crap. Josh Allen threw for 127 yards, and he only ran for 20.
Yeah, no, that was what's surprising is that the yardage of rushing from both guys.
Yeah.
From Jackson and Allen. If you were following our socials, we obviously took the overs on rushing because, I don't know, they've been over that damn total like every single game this year.
All the time.
And this time they're like,
so you'd think they'd run more.
I'm a pocket passer now. I'm a pocket passer. No, I'm a pocket passer.
Neither
like,
of them,
are you guys doing?
Neither of them scrambled.
It
was weird.
Was that the Ofer game?
Yeah.
I had one game.
We had one over, and then we had a 4-0. So our prop plays in these games, we're like all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's strikingly weird to not get any.
We got Derrick.
Then we also get 4
touchdown in this one. We got.
I picked that one. That was the lowest. That was the lowest odds and kind of
that was
a layup. But
yeah. As I had, ironically, I had Mark Andrews anytime touchdown.
Yeah, well, that would have been a 2-point. Wouldn't count anyway.
Yeah, wouldn't count anyway. That's true.
All right, let's look ahead to this week. So this weekend's games, championship weekend, man. So winner is going to the Super Bowl. It's it. All the marbles, man. All the cookies in Keebler land. Here we go.
Are you talking about the? Are we talking about the NFC Championship and the Arrowhead Invitational?
That is correct. Correct.
Okay. All right.
So let's just start off with the other game. So the one we're going to watch because it's fun. So Washington at Philly. And here's the thing. Here's the kind of the background on this one. So to catch everybody up if you're not tracking. So Philly has gone 14-1 in their last 15 games. The one loss was to Washington, 33-30.
Interesting.
And last play of the game, Jaden Daniels won it. So that's what we got. On the other side, in the other corner, we've got Washington, 6 games in a row. And the first 5 of those 6, so until last week when they drubbed Detroit, they won on the final play of scrimmage. So they've been living dangerously. They've been towing the edge and living on the wild side, hitting on 20 and pulling up aces every now and then. But this weekend, it's going to be the tiebreaker. So the rubber match, it's 1-1. So the first game, 26-18, Philly won. Then the next game, Washington won 36-33. What do you guys see for this one? Yeah.
I was just looking at how those last two games went.
So the line is Philly
plus
minus
6.
6.
Yep. Yeah, Washington plus 6. And on both games, so Saquon Barkley, and for all our Gio owners out there that has Saquon, you'll remember the last game because he had 109 yards in the first quarter and 2 touchdowns, and you were already done. You're moving on to the next round. I think it was week 14 or whatever it was. But in the other game, he's kind of like struggle bus, but then he ripped off 2 long touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, both stats, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Right.
So Saquon's averaged at 148 per game.
And 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but the thing is when he went all out in the first quarter, but then he only had 40 yards the rest of the game, the last one. And in the first game, he only had 50 yards the whole first 3 quarters. And then he got 100 in the fourth quarter because he ripped off like a 72-yard run and like a 20. So it's kind of been a tale of 2 Barkleys when they play each other. So I think it'll be interesting. So there's there's chatter. Right? There's always chatter. They might have Barkley's number this time because they know how to stop him.
This is like, to me, this is one of the most challenging games to pick that I've had in a while. Because when I look at it, like, there's so much of me that wants to say, oh, the Commanders are just red hot. They don't know what they don't know. Daniels feels like he's one of those guys that just wins in the playoffs. But then you look at their squad and you're like,
how?
They don't have a good team outside of,
it's McLaurin.
McLaurin's good. And
Zach Ertz. He's good. Zach Ertz
he's good. He's good. He's just old. And
I know, he's an Andrews.
And then on defense, you got who on defense? And so
Lattimore or whatever his name is.
This team honestly, like, nobody picked Washington to the NFC Championship for a reason. Like, they feel early. They feel unripe. They feel like we jumped ahead of the curve. We warp speed ahead, and it's like
they're a green banana.
They're a green banana, but the green banana could win. This has happened before.
I know they could ripen this week.
I tend to think if the green banana pulls this off, like, the Super Bowl is going to be a effing beatdown, because I feel like whoever plays them, from the
whichever
AFC,
wins the AFC,
would just absolutely destroy them. Now, if I look at the Eagles, you look at them and you go, total dysfunction. Like, doesn't feel like anybody on the team likes to be there
each other.
Or each other. You look at them and you go, but they got way more talent. You look at their team and you're like, holy crap, they got a ton of talent.
It's a who's who.
They're a team that could hang with the Bills or Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and you kind of go, well, that's probably the team that should win. But, like, nothing feels good about picking them right now. So it's like,
which is probably why I'm going to pick them.
Right?
Because they're the stinkiness, right? We've been all season, the stinky pick, right? Everybody wants to pick that. I bet the public's on the +6 for Washington.
69% of the bet.
Which it's clearly going to be a blowout by Philly. Daniel's going to have 2 picks and a fumble.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts going to hobble around on his one good knee and throw a couple bombs. He probably isn't. What am I kidding? He's not throwing anything to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, right.
So Devontae Smith might get one.
It'll be to Devontae,
Right.
Yep. And Saquon. So it's going to be all Saquon again. I'm going to take a prop bet on Saquon to get over 100 yards because that seems like a good bet.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think there's going to be a fun game. All the hype train right now is on Washington.
Everybody's on Washington, which to your point, Dex, like gun to my head, I'm going Philly, and I hate their dysfunction. I hate their mojo.
Yep.
But, like, it just feels like it can't continue. Like, the Washington train's going to come to a stop. If Washington wins a Super Bowl, hey, we've got a generational talent in Jaden Daniels who's, like, automatically thrust into the is this guy as good as Patrick Mahomes discussion as a rookie to win a Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I'll be honest. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. And so the other thing on this, would it be – it wouldn't have been shocking. In fact, we were on St. Louis dropping some money lines last week. If Philly would have lost last week, we wouldn't have really been shocked either, though.
Right.
And so that's the same thing about this week. Like, I think the stinky play is Philly to lay it.
Right.
But, man, I'm not going to be shocked if Washington wins this game. They've already beat them.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Like
Tampa, and then I mean they've been playing well.
I mean,
you get a hot team in the playoffs.
That's it.
Handily.
I mean, Eli Manning has something to say about this one. It's like you come in with the last seed and take 2 Super Bowl rings from your big brother who is there all the time and has one. Not one, but he ended up getting a couple at the end, obviously, with Denver. But when he was with the Colts, so Eli just could never get past Tom Brady.
This isn't one of those games where it feels like, a lot of times you go, there really is a clear favorite, and you kind of go, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I really wouldn't. And but
what do you think about the line? That seems like a high line for a game that we're all thinking is going to be way closer than 6 points or whatever.
I know, but I'm with Dexter. Like, I feel like it could be like I honestly, I think it's either going to be Philly by 20 or like Commanders. Sorry, Commanders.
Oh, St. Louis Rams appreciate you.
The Commanders on a last-second field goal. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's one of those games. It's either going to be like if the Commanders keep it close into the fourth, I think they're going to win. But I could just as easily see it getting the doors blown off of them in the first half.
Yeah, it could totally happen. But I think the great equalizer in this game is Barkley. And I think he's going to keep it close because Hurts doesn't have to be good.
Right.
And there's enough of a threat because he should pass more.
Right.
Even if he's just doing 60 yards a game, the threat is still there.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough. Whereas when and here's the other caveat. So on the game they lost, 36-33. Spoiler alert, Jalen Hurts didn't finish that game. They were winning after the first quarter, then he got hurt, and Can-You Pickett came in and did not hold on. So they dropped it 36-33 with Pickett. Okay. So I need to throw that little bit out.
Well, that's different. So I will say, I was wondering what the weather looks like that day. Philly, it's supposed to be 39, no precipitation, so it shouldn't be like a weather game. It doesn't look like it's going to be that.
It kind of sucks, man. The weather game was great. The tale of two halves, like watching the highlights from the St. Louis Philly game was hilarious because you knew which half was which.
What about the LA game?
Half. Oh, that was like.
And LA came up too there.
God dang it!
So weird.
The Rams, Eagles. Screw you guys.
Not that you're showing your age or anything.
But well, at least I'm not doing the St. Louis Cardinals.
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Half the students' audience is like, St. Louis. They don't even remember that the Rams were in St. Louis.
Ricky Prohl.
Right.
All right. So, and then the game we all want to watch.
Holy cow.
Oh, boy. And it's a 2-point Chiefs favor. So -2 KC, home against Buffalo.
Which means they really think that the Bills are slightly
a half point or a point, depending on what. Lewis keeps saying 2.5's the new 3. And if so, sounds good.
Right.
But on the road, man, only 2-point dogs, which having them a dog last week was kind of weird. This week, but it's kind of surprising.
I think that's the Josh Allen factor.
Oh my gosh,
he seems to rise to the occasion against the Chiefs, but in big games in general, he steps up and finds a way to win.
It is. So what are our concerns other than Josh Allen? What do we think? Is it going to be just him running all over the place, carrying it on his shoulders? Because it didn't happen last week against Baltimore, which is surprising. And James Cook is good. He's really, really good.
Yep.
And despite the Chiefs having a very good run D generally, it's kind of shown some holes lately. And James Cook could exploit those, which I hope he doesn't, but he could. And they have enough dudes. So Ray Davis doesn't suck and Ty Johnson doesn't suck. So unlike Washington, we're kind of talking about Eckler and Brian Robinson, not really top of their game guys.
Right.
Buffalo's got all those.
Yep.
Their weakness to me is their wideouts. I mean, Shakir and Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, they don't instill fear. And then Matt Collins with his barefoot weirdness.
Right.
I mean, it's not a threatening wideout crew. But the thing is, each week they do enough.
Yeah.
They're like the do enough club.
Yep.
Right.
And I guess we can't really throw stones with the Chiefs wideout room who caught 0 balls last week.
Right.
But
the thing that gives me optimism as a Chiefs fan, besides the fact that I have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and
Kelsey
and Chris Jones, which
Spags
by themselves instill that, is the Bills' defense is not good.
They've been playing better though.
It's not a defense that is like gonna step up. I don't feel like so. I feel like it's gonna be one of those games that their offense is gonna have to keep scoring. They're gonna have to.
You gotta get to 30, I think.
A significant amount of points to beat the Chiefs on this and at Arrowhead at night. Allen can do it. He can do it, but I just feel like it's too heavy of a load for him. I feel like if you get a couple stops as the Chiefs defense.
Well, that's what Baltimore did last week. They got a couple stops, right?
Right.
In key moments. I mean, they let the Ravens go all the way down the field in the fourth quarter.
Right.
3-minute drill. And, man, he did kind of sort of tie it up if they would have made a catch. But
you know what it feels like to me, though? It feels like a Chris Jones game. I feel like Jones is like I'm the biggest critic of Chris Jones because I think he half-asses half the time, but he does.
Oh, man, when he full asses something,
right? And he does.
He puts his back into it
in these games. He always shows up, and he's like, it's hard to be a clutch defensive player, but he feels like a clutch defensive player.
Yeah,
like,
he's a drive wrecker. He's a game ender.
Oh, he needs to make 1 or 2 good plays to just fire that defense up where they'll be unstoppable.
All we need is to not have Bolton be the QB spy.
That's what I'm afraid of. Is
because he continues to show he can't keep up.
He can't. And
that's not his strong suit, and that's okay to not have one weakness.
Well, if I'm Spags, the one thing I'm going to do in this game is I would say, Josh Allen, you got to beat me throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you run for first downs. So if you beat me throwing and you beat my D-backs consistently with your wideouts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Great. You beat me.
Yep.
And Chris Jones is rushing you.
Exactly.
Trying to get you, okay, you beat me. But I'm not going to let him do what he did in the last game in the regular season where he runs for the first down to ice it and ran all over. I'm not going to let that happen this time.
Yeah, that sucked. There's nothing more helpless than having Josh Allen just run around with Nick Bolding, trying to catch his towel at the back.
It's exactly what every team that plays the Chiefs feels. Where Mahomes pulls out a 30-yard run in the fourth quarter, we're just to dagger you. And it's like, oh, no.
Oh, we had a chance until that play.
It's just totally powerless feeling when you see him start to scramble. And Allen can do that, and he is a big-time player. I feel like he's going to get a win at some point in his career that's going to be like a huge win. I hope it's not this game.
I know, but it's not Sunday.
Yeah.
I want the three-peat, and then, all right. Let's get a little history.
I will say, if they did happen to pull it off, I'd pull for them in the Super Bowl. I think
I would too.
He's a good story, and it's a fun rivalry, and the Buffalo fans and the Chiefs fans have kind of a nice back and forth. They have some respect for each other. So,
and let's bring up the Super Bowl logo colors. They have spoken. They've spoken. So it's a red and kind of a little crimson and gold. So it sure seems like it should be the Redskins and the Chiefs.
There you go. Yeah.
So not a lot of blue or green in this particular logo.
Okay.
So if the league is fixed, if the fix is in from a random art AI generated logo,
right?
Here we go. Should be Chiefs and Redskins.
Right. I mean, okay. The fix is definitely
or the St. Louis Commanders, whichever.
The St. Louis Commanders.
So, I threw St. Louis out every single time. I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did.
You just said Redskins.
And Redskins and St. Louis. And
whatever. You know what? They got to stop changing their names and locations.
I agree. I absolutely
The Oakland Raiders deserve more stability and respect.
Right. Totally.
Right.
I mean the Los Angeles Raiders. I mean the stupid Vegas Raiders.
whatever they are. I don't like them wherever they live.
That's right.
That's right.
So
Screw
the
those
weather,
guys.
for what it's worth, Kansas City kickoff's going to be about 32. No snow though, so it's going to be cold. But
It's gonna be full game.
Not going to play to anybody's advantage because both these teams are used to the frigid cold in the playoffs. All right, let's get to picking then. What do we think, guys?
picks. Gambling.
It's time for our gambling pick.
All right. Last week we went 4-0. We took Washington plus 9.5.
7-1 on the play.
Got it. We got Kansas City minus 8.5. Got it. Despite the taking our own safety right at the end, he making 9 points. We got the Rams plus 6.5. Got it. 6 points. Buffalo plus 1. Got it. 1/2. So we took a 4-0 record last week. Here we go into this week. So Lewis called in, and he wants Washington money line, which let's just go plus 6 because we always do a nice little fun teaser. So Washington plus 6 is Lewis's pick. Now, I've got mine, and I don't know, we probably should have talked it out first. I hope I don't scoop it, but I kind of already gave away what mine's going to be. So I'm taking over 48.5 for KC Buffalo because I think the winner has to get to 30, and I think it's going to be a one-score game, which makes it 30-23-ish, which is 53 points, and I think it's going to go over 48.5. I think that it's going to have to take that to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC. So I'm going the over 48.5. What say you guys? Yep.
I think that's a good pick.
Yep.
For sure.
I like that pick for sure. I'm less enthused about the Washington pick. Like you said, it could go either way, where they do pull it off, or they get blown out.
Did Lewis pick already?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Washington plus.
Wait, go ahead and make a pick now.
All right,
Go ahead.
Lewis. What? I want to make sure and confirm.
No, Lewis, what's your pick? Text. You.
Hey, so my pick is because it's crazy, right? I mean, we're looking at this team. They're coming through. They've been playing great through the playoffs. I am staying on the Jaden train all the way to the house. Bank it, book it, plus 6. In fact, money line. Lou, money line. Washington. The Commanders. The Commandants.
The Reds.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Lou. Good work.
Excellent.
Whatever
Okay.
city they're from.
All right. Yeah. Whichever team they are, whatever their mascot is.
Commandants.
The Commandants. Prue, what are you thinking this week?
So this, I don't know. This is going to be an unpopular pick, but I have concerns. I want the Chiefs to win badly, and I think they probably will, but I could take the emotional hedge and put a little bit of money on Buffalo in the event that they somehow pull things off. I kind of don't think they will, so my bet's not going to be very big.
Right.
But I'm just I'm concerned that Josh Allen is
He's
too
on a destiny streak.
Yeah, he's just having an MVP like year.
He is.
And I'm worried that something disastrous is going to happen.
Who did Nick Wright say at the beginning of the season?
Oh yeah, who did he say?
For MVP or for the Super Bowl winner?
For the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think he picked the Chiefs.
I think he did.
Yeah, I don't really want my pick to be considered an official shrewdness pick. I'm gonna make
it an official shrewdness pick.
I'm gonna be an emotional hedge better this weekend.
All right, that's fair.
I'm either gonna be happy with my winnings, or I'm going to be happy that the Chiefs are going for the three-peat.
Well, I am going, 87% of the money, 87% of the bets, 84% of the money in the Washington Philly game is on the over. It's clearly going to happen. No, it's not. Under 47.5. Everybody is riding high on, look how many points the Commanders put up at Detroit. Yeah. I think, to your point, Dex, it's a Saquon game. They're going to grind, and try to keep the ball away from Jay Daniels. That's what I would do. Keep the ball away from Jay Daniels and shorten the game. And I see this game being a low-scoring affair. I put it somewhere around 24-14, 24-17, something in that ballpark. So under the 47.5 is where I'm going.
Nice. I like it. So we got Washington +6, KC Buffalo over 48.5, Washington Philly under 47.5, and Buffalo +2.
Shrewdness
The emotional
listeners,
hedge bet.
I'm a little disappointed in my fellow Shrewdness podcast members. They let me bet on Buffalo.
It's
There's no way, guys. It's KC all the way.
I could definitely see the Chiefs by 1.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Last second magic. We win.
It's happened before.
It could definitely happen. I think
I could not live with myself if I bet on Buffalo.
Good. So Kansas City -2. Thank God.
I'm changing.
Woo! Thank God. We fixed that bull honky.
I can't believe you guys let me run that long with the opposing team in a
Well, the thing is, I could kind of hear Lewis in my ears saying, "It's not the bad bet. It's not the worst bet ever."
Exactly right.
It could probably happen, and
I mean, there's actually some good logic behind it, and
but we can't do it. I'm not rooting for $1 to get.
Can't do it.
I don't want any of that dirty ass tainted blood money.
It's dirty money.
Right.
Dirty money.
I don't even want it.
I'll throw my bet away gladly to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again.
All right, we'll do that.
Yes, Chiefs.
I like that.
Chiefs.
So I know some of you follow us. Lastly, follow us on social media. Please follow, and engage with us. We love it, and the followership's growing, and we really appreciate it. And some of you may have seen that we were live at the national championship game. I was privileged enough to get the opportunity to go to the national championship game to watch my Fighting Irish
Golden Domers,
the Ohio State Buckeyes. It kind of went down like I thought it was going to go down, unfortunately.
Yep.
My boys were overmatched, but they had a lot of fight in them. Was proud of how they came out. They came out, scared everybody, got up 7-0 with a
first
long
10 minutes were the best 10 minutes ever.
The stadium was a buzz. I was so excited. And then Ohio State was like, you know what? We're going to complete 15 straight passes, which is what they did to set a championship game record. 15 in a row. Howard was on fire.
Yeah, Will Howard's really good.
He's really good. Their wide receivers are really good. They're very talented. The better team won the game for sure. Unfortunately, play that game 10 times. Ohio State's going to win 8. We probably sneak a couple out. But I was proud of Notre Dame's fight, and they're definitely a fun squad to watch, fun team to get behind. They tried to make a little comeback. Marcus Freeman made a couple of questionable decisions. I love Marcus Freeman.
Yep.
But kicking a field goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one was about. 14 points in 16, whatever the heck it was. It wasn't going to do anything.
It would have totally made it 13. Who cares?
With 8 minutes left. And then they
go to touchdown, and that could have changed everything.
I would have rather them throw a pick in the end zone rather than attempt a field goal that does nothing and still 2-score game. Still 2 touchdowns.
I was really hopeful sitting in the game that Ohio State got the ball back with like 3 minutes left, and if we had made one more stop and gotten the ball, it would have been really interesting because we would have had the ball down 8. But Ohio State made a ballsy call, and on 3rd down they threw a freaking 40-yard pass, and I was like,
Jeremiah Smith, man, that was a hell of a catch, hell of a play.
That was a really good play and ended the game, so I didn't get the drama I wanted. I will say this, Jeremiah Smith, who is 17 years old, by the way.
No way.
Dang.
Is probably the best wide receiver in college football right now at 17. So this guy, you're going to have to watch out for this guy when it comes to draft time in a couple of years when he's eligible. He's impressive. Like, there's no way a kid who enters college a year early should be this physically dominant at that stage of the game. And there wasn't anybody on Notre Dame who could cover him. He's just really good. So keep him in your back pocket. Don't tell all your other Gio friends about him, but he's the one that I'm packing away if I get a chance, get a pick at him early on. I think he's the real deal. I think he's going to be fun to watch. But college football playoffs overall, I call success. I'd like to see them. I like the bracket. I'd love to see him put the first 2
reseeding
rounds
needs to
on
happen.
Campus.
Yeah, and that
on-campus games are way better. And the seeding is jacked. They need to stop this, these
seed.
automatic
junk.
Seed. Like, come on.
And then the championship game winners, because. I mean, Arizona State should never have had a bye.
No.
It's just
like Arizona
the
State.
obvious things can quickly and easily be fixed.
Fix that stuff, and like you can make it even better. But
Yep.
it's good for the game. I think it's going to draw a lot more interest because of how they've done it, and it was a fun season for sure.
Yeah, minor league football is off to a good new start.
Yeah, absolutely.
The two conference league.
Totally. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this time next week we're gonna have a Super Bowl preview coming up.
Oh,
That's right.
Oh boy.
So what is going on there? And coming around the bend after the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, we'll be talking baseball, and we're gonna have a big Royals breakdown. We'll be talking about all the stuff going on. Can anybody beat the Dodgers?
I know. We'll see if we can talk about anyone other than the Dodgers signing free agents and international superstars.
Right?
Everyone
Probably
else
not.
and the
Probably
Dodgers.
not. Somebody has to get Nolan Arenado, for Christ's sake. I mean, let's just see what's up.
Totally.
He already turned down Houston. They're not good enough, so all right, LA, go and take
Is there any,
Surefire.
are we gonna start having like two deep on LA's roster that are better than starters for everybody else?
Yeah.
Where we're heading. But we're getting the itch. Of course, not enough to talk it yet. As soon as the Chiefs get the three-peat, we'll go into that phase of our
football first.
Absolutely.
And we got some good desert topics we'll talk about when we get to the desert.
Totally, it's gonna be fun. So even though there's that, we all know that desert when you hit that, and the sports aren't really kicking as much. We got lots of stuff to take you guys through. It'll be entertaining times on the Shrewdness for sure.
All right, take us out, dog.
Just because we haven't heard one today, I got a transition 5 for Dexter.
Yes. Woo!
Yes.
And this is the Shrewdness Podcast. We're signing off. We'll be back next week to talk about the Super Bowl and the matchup between somebody and the Chiefs. All right, we appreciate you guys following us and listening in. We have a ton of fun doing this, so hope you enjoy it. And tune in again next week. This is the Shrewdness Podcast signing off.